Hey, welcome back to the Beginner Surf Tips series presented by the Independent Surfer, where we guide you through the process of learning to surf as a beginner surfer step by step, starting from a very beginning, taking you to the intermediate level. In the previous video, we discussed vague ideas of the mental and physical aspects that are required for you as a surfer and what you're kind of getting yourself into. And in this video, we're going to dive a little deeper into the mental aspects and how to deal with shortcomings and also how to deal with excitement and, you know, both positive and negative emotions that come with surfing. Because if you don't keep these in check, then it can be really difficult for you to progress in a good way because your emotions kind of get in the way. So to start with this, I just want to touch on what we did for the last video. You know, we kind of broke down vaguely the mental and physical aspects. And, you know, as a beginner surfer, you might not be aware of all the things that you need to learn. And these things are really not spoken about in anywhere. Like, it's hard to find this kind of information. So I hope you can learn something from this and take something away from it. I like to think that surfing really emphasizes your emotions. So if you're somebody who gets frustrated really easily, or if you're somebody who gets angry really easy, or even if you're somebody who gets excited really easy, you know, it doesn't have to just be negative emotions, it can also be positive emotions. But if you're somebody who is highly affected by emotions, then it's really, really important for you to be able to keep these emotions in check, because surfing really emphasizes who you are as a person. You know, I've seen people paddle out into the lineup and they're total douchebags. They're like dropping in on everybody's wave, super entitled, think they own the world. And, you know, chances are when you meet them on land, they're probably going to be the same kind of person. So if you're this person, just keep yourself in check, because I don't want to call you out or anything, but really, like, it's not very nice when you're dropping in on everybody and stuff. But because you're a beginner, you're probably quite humbled and you're not going to have any of these issues. With that being said, like, if somebody's really nice on land and they're courteous to everybody and, you know, like, they don't step on anybody's toes, then they're probably going to be the same in the water. And it's really important for you to be like this in the water because, of course, like, everything that you do doesn't only affect yourself, but it also affects all the people around you. So it's really, really important for you to make sure that you're courteous and that you don't let your emotions get the best of you, because, you know, when people are dropping in on you or when people are catching your waves and stuff like that, and as a beginner, it's really difficult for you to be able to catch waves with other surfers who are really good around you, catching all the waves. I mean, imagine if you have no idea how to play soccer and then all of a sudden you're like, every time you're going to go play soccer, you're playing with like Ronaldo and Messi and stuff, you know, like it's just going to be ridiculous. You're never going to get the ball. So it's kind of the same in surfing. And if you're somebody who's really good watching this, for some reason, I don't know why you would be watching this, but please just let the beginners get a few waves as well, because, you know, you as an intermediate or advanced surfer can catch waves, and those people are trying to learn, so just be courteous. But I'm sure you're probably a beginner and that's why you're watching this video, so I'm going to get into some tips now on how to deal with these both positive and negative emotions. The kind of emotions that you're going to be indulging in are things like frustration, anxiety, and fear, and those are in the negative spectrum. On the positive spectrum, you're probably going to deal with things like excitement, accomplishment, and confidence. Now, it sounds like those positive things are really good things, but if not kept in check, they can turn into negative emotions as well, and I'm going to get into that in a moment. Frustration is generally set up by expectations, so if you have super high expectations and you're not reaching those expectations, then you're probably going to get frustrated with yourself for not having achieved whatever you expect yourself to achieve. So it's really important to make sure that when you're setting goals, what you're setting to achieve is realistic for you to achieve. So example of this is when you set goals using the SMART method, which is specific. If you're a beginner, you're not going to set goals to be you're not going to set goals to do 360s. They're going to be very specific to like you and your needs. So what you need to do is learn how to catch waves, or what you need to do is learn how to pop up on the surfboard. They're also going to be specific, so that's number one. Then measurable. You need to have some sort of metric where you can measure these sorts of things. So if you just say like, oh, I want to catch waves, it's really not measurable because you have no idea how many waves you want to catch. Or like, if you want to just catch 5 waves, that's great, but how long is that going to take you to catch those 5 waves? So you need to make sure that your goals are measurable in some sort of metric, so you can know that you've reached them or know how far you are away from achieving those goals. This one's debatable, adjustable, or attainable, whichever one you want to look at it. The most important thing here is that you are able to reach those goals. You're not setting them super far out of reach. As an example of this is going back to trying to do 360s as a beginner surfer. It's just not possible right now. So there's other things that you need to set in between that to get there. So just make sure they're attainable. Relative to what you're doing, you want to get better at pop-ups. So you need to then be good at doing pop-ups and having your goals relative to that, as opposed to catching waves. So just make sure that your goals are in line. So like try and focus on one specific goal at a time, and try not to overwhelm yourself with all of these things that you need to do as a beginner surfer. So if you go out there and you try and focus on catching waves and popping up and turning the board and, you know, doing maneuvers and dealing with other people in the lineup, it's going to be very, very hard. So just try and take one of those things at a time, so you're biting off small chunks. Then the next thing is timely. So set a deadline for yourself so that you know that you need to achieve your goals by a specific time. And then that's pretty much it. And this will really help you avoid frustration. I mean, these are things that you have control over. There are also other things that might frustrate you that you don't have control over. Like, say, for example, you're getting stuck in the impact zone because there's multiple sets coming through. And if you're not sure what multiple sets are, basically a set of waves is a group of waves that comes in at a time. And most of the time, waves come in groups. But we're not going to get into great detail about this now. We'll get into more detail about terms and stuff in future videos. There's two main variables that happen in surfing that can cause frustration, and that's one, as I said, the things that you have control over, and then other things that you don't have control over, like waves and other people. So it's important for you to be able to learn as much information as you can so that you can so that you can realize that these things that you don't have control over, they shouldn't frustrate you. If you do get frustrated, which you probably will, try and use that frustration to your advantage. Don't let it get you down and get upset and get negative. Try and keep a positive outlook, positive mindset, and try and use that frustration to motivate you to do better in the future. So the next thing we're going to touch on is anxiety. Now, there's many things that can cause anxiety. You might have anxiety towards other people. You might have anxiety towards yourself. Maybe you don't feel so confident with your ability and stuff. And as a beginner, you're going to feel this like imposter syndrome to the max, right? Because you've never done this before. And in surfing is kind of like this heavy stigma of like, because when you're a beginner, you're a kook and stuff. But look, don't have these anxieties. Just focus on yourself. Try not to worry about what other people think, and try and avoid avoidance. So like one of the most important things to do is to just put yourself out of your comfort zone, and don't put yourself in danger, but put yourself out of your comfort zone so that you can accomplish what you want to accomplish. And it's important for you to make sure that you don't worry about what other people think of you, because I've seen this a lot with surfers, especially beginner surfers, is they're so worried about what intermediate and advanced surfers think of them, because you know they want to be at that level, and it's hard to get to that level. And number two, it's just within our nature to, it's the word subjugated within a hierarchy. I don't know how to explain this exactly, but it's just the way our community social aspect works. You just need to work through that and realize that everybody starts at this point, you know, and rationalize those things that create anxiety and stuff. And it's really hard, and my heart goes out to you if you feel like you're riddled by anxiety. I recently felt what anxiety really feels like, and it's not very nice. Try and make sure that you center yourself and focus within yourself, as opposed to worrying about other people and other things outside of your control, outside of your environment that you can't deal with. That's all I have to say about anxiety. We do go more into this in our beginner surf course that you can buy online, and you can check that out on our website. But to keep going, the next thing I want to touch on is fear. Now, this can be brought upon by anxiety, but mostly what I'm trying to touch on here is fear towards things like big waves, the shallow reef breaks, you know, the sharks, etc. And the most important thing here is to make sure that you just rationalize your fear. You know, how often are you going to hurt yourself while surfing? You know, you have to accept that when you go surfing, there is a level of danger, and that's okay. And you shouldn't be scared of going to go surf. So if you're worried about it, it's okay. Like, it's okay to be scared, but it's important to make sure that you have control over the situation. so that fear doesn't turn into a dangerous situation that's created by panic. It's okay to be scared. It's quite daunting to go surfing. It's hard, it's not easy, and it's the big open ocean, and you know, most people wouldn't dare to even go in the sea. So the fact that you're paddling out there behind the lineup and you know, sitting there by yourself sometimes, it's quite scary. So it's okay to be scared, but just don't let that fear turn into something worse. And the best way to deal with this, I would say, is to incrementally push yourself out of your comfort zone. So don't go to like Nazare or go to like Puerto Escondido and paddle out in some huge wave situation, but if that's what scares you, but go to slightly bigger waves. And then what you can also do is, once you've had that experience in waves that kind of push you out of your comfort zone, then go back to something a little lighter and easier, and you'll see how much easier it is to take in all that information, because surfing can sometimes be like sensory overload. You have waves, water, the board, a lot of different sounds going on. You know, you're trying to identify waves. They're constantly moving. It's hard to find a pattern and stuff. So yeah, just try and keep yourself calm in uneasy situations. Then the next thing I want to touch on is actually positive emotions. And you can turn all of these negative emotions into positive things that can help you progress a lot quicker. But the same can be said in opposite for positive emotions. If you let these positive emotions get the best of you and you get too ahead of yourself, then you can become a little overconfident and cocky and start to treat other people or other things with disrespect. And I'm going to get into that in a moment. Now, the first thing that might hinder you with positive emotion, like, okay, excitement, it's really good to be excited. And if you have this over anxiety, then good for you. But it's important not to get too excited. I remember when I was learning to surf, and even now, sometimes when I go and surf, I get so excited, but I kind of forget to focus on the things that I'm supposed to be focusing on. And then I just become like this dog chasing the ball. I'm like, you know, all I want to do is catch as many waves as I can because I'm so excited. But sometimes that's not always the best route to go about what you want to do. So make sure that you've set your goals according to who you are and what you want to do, and make sure you try and stick to those goals and not get too ahead of yourself if you get super, super excited. The next thing I want to touch on is accomplishment. Now, this is a great feeling. Like, eventually you're going to feel like you're really progressing and things are happening the way that you want them to happen. But as soon as you stop having that feeling again, because you've become so used to that accomplishment, when you start to feel like you're not reaching your goals, it can lead to ultimate frustration. You know, nothing's perpetual. You're never going to have accomplishment forever and ever and ever. And you're never going to have frustration forever and ever and ever. It's going to have a dip up. And so it's important to try and keep an even keel, because your emotions can be quite overwhelming. And especially when you have to take other people into account, if you get super emotional and start snapping at people, that's not good. I just want you to be able to progress as quick as you can, and a lot of this information might seem redundant, but if you really start to think about it, your brain, it's literally in control of everything that you do. If you're having this accomplishment and excitement and you're having this belief in yourself, it's great, but just don't get carried away. Just keep yourself in check so that when you experience these negative emotions, you haven't had such a high ride that it creates such a low dip, if that makes sense. And this accomplishment and excitement is going to lead to confidence, and confidence is everything in surfing. If you paddle out there and your mindset, or it's confidence and mindset really, like if you paddle out there and your mindset is, oh, you know, I want to surf but you know, I'm not really feeling it today, and you know, I don't feel super confident, and maybe I'll catch one wave, maybe I'll do this, then chances are you're not going to progress, and you're maybe going to catch one or two waves, especially in a crowded environment. But if you have this, I'm going to get out there, I'm super excited, I'm going to catch a lot of waves, I'm going to really stick to my goals, I'm going to be positive, I'm really going to get a lot of waves, and you don't feel any doubt whatsoever with yourself, I guarantee you're going to find a really good rhythm out there, and you're definitely going to progress even within that session. It's really, really important to carry yourself well and to give yourself a lot of confidence. Believe in yourself, but don't get cocky and don't become overconfident, because like I said, there's a fine line with these emotions, especially the positive ones, because I see a lot of people like when they go from beginner to intermediate, they get to this intermediate level and then they start to become like overconfident. They start to feel entitled to waves. They start to feel like they can drop in on people. They start to feel like they can paddle wherever they want, whenever they want, because they become overconfident and they forget about the rules. They forget about being courteous to other people. So just keep yourself in check if you're somebody that feels like you get overconfident and you're not being courteous at all to other people. The last thing I want to touch on for this is like how to behave in the lineup. And this is going on, you know, because I was touching on like, yeah, you shouldn't get overconfident. You really need to control your emotions, and also don't get too frustrated or angry or upset with other people, because, you know, you can't control that sort of situation, and you don't want to lash out at people. So there's 3 things that I really just want to touch on here, and it's really quick. It's have respect for yourself and other people. Be kind and courteous, like especially if you're somebody who can now catch a bunch of waves, if you're at that level. But obviously, if you're not at that level, you're not going to know the rules, so it's impossible for you to respect and be kind and courteous to other people. So learn the rules. And we're not going to touch on rules in this video, we're going to touch on rules further on down the line, but you really need to know the rules in order for you to be kind, courteous, and respectful to other people. So wait for that video, we'll touch on that sort of thing so that you can understand these things. I hope this really helped. I'm trying to get as much information in here in as short a time as possible, but really this conversation is endless. I really want you to understand that the mental part of things, like the way that you think about yourself, what you believe in, how you carry yourself, and where you're going is gonna make a huge difference for you to get better at surfing. Like, you're not gonna get better at surfing if you don't believe in yourself. You're not gonna be able to do anything for yourself if you don't believe in yourself. So it starts with that. And I really want you to be able to believe in yourself, but not to the point that you become overconfident and cocky, but just try and keep those things in check. That's all I have for today. In the next video, we'll touch on the physical things that you need to deal with. So we'll probably give you some like stretches and stuff that you need to do, and just touch on like, you know, how you need to be flexible, and you know, there's a balance between flexibility and strength within surfing. But yeah, we'll see you for the next video, and thanks for your time today.